Dr. Anthony Pellegrino from ChiroEdge. We're going to be handing out the C-section handout that you guys got in the office today, and there's just some really good information, some good background on the study that I wanted to drop for you. So basically the background is that in Denmark, they basically collect, I'll call it like metadata, basically the same kind of information that the NSA collects on us for our cell phones. They do that for health. So when anybody in Denmark is born, they're basically assigned a number, and information on their health is collected throughout their entire life. That's my understanding of how it works based on the article. So what they were able to do is just run some statistics comparing the rates of chronic immune issues of people who have been born via C-section compared to the rates of people who were born more natural forms, or naturally, whatever you want to call it. So they took this and ran this data from every person born in Denmark from 1973, I think it was, all the way through 2012. So they had a pretty good size sample size. And what they found was that individuals who were born via C-section during this time had higher rates of asthma, had higher rates of allergies, had higher rates of connective tissue disorders like juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, even had higher rates of leukemia, which is pretty significant. Their explanation in the discussion of the article was everything from how the immune system isn't primed as much during the birthing process by not coming out the vaginal canal. They mentioned trauma in birth, but they didn't really describe birth trauma in the way that we as chiropractors look at it, but obviously we know that that's a factor. If you have any naysayers in your practice who kind of like will really reject that and say, well, what about, people who are born via C-section are more likely to be premature and are therefore more likely to have immune issues later on, well, they controlled for that. They didn't allow anybody to be part of the study who had a birth weight of less than 2,500 grams, I think. I'm not doing a conversion on my head, but I think that's it, which is about 5.5 pounds, and nobody could be premature. So that's some really, really good information for you guys. I think this is hugely, hugely important. We mention a lot in our office that the World Health Organization mentions that C-section rates for population shouldn't be above 10 to 15%, which is about 1 in 6, and in the US they're 1 in 3, right? So certainly there is a time and a place for C-section, right? There is such a thing as emergency C-section that certainly is life-saving, but it's certainly being overused in our communities, and chiropractic can definitely help mom have a safer, easier birth, and can definitely overcome some of those effects of birth trauma, regardless of whether or not the birth is via C-section or even the most natural healthy birth you can possibly have. So I'm Dr. Anthony Pellegrino from ChiroEdge. Hopefully you guys got some good info there. I really look forward to continuing to distribute some value, some information that you guys can use in your communities. Thank you so much.